Cheers. Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a Q&A for you all. So these questions are from my Instagram. I asked you guys in my story to leave questions and you did. So let's jump right in. First question, how did you become How did you become involved with Artemis Sportswomen and what's the objective of the group? Ooh, good question. Artemis is a sportswomen's conservation group. We are an initiative of the National Wildlife Federation, and essentially we are out there trying to advocate for public lands and wildlife conservation, to bring sportswomen together, to feel a sense of community together, and inspire women who want to be leaders in the space to become leaders in the space. And some boots on the ground type projects as well. So we're only a year and a half old? A year old? A year and a half. And we're growing so much every day. So even if you are a sportsman, not a sportswoman, that is okay. It is for everyone. Or pass it along to your wife or your daughter or your girlfriend, etc. That's the gist. Ha! Can you and Nick move to Bozeman? Maybe. I don't know. That would be fun. I would do that for sure. How do you get your eyebrows so perfect? When I was younger, I had a unibrow and then I just started plucking them myself. How old are you? I'm 26. My birthday is August 24th. So I'm semi-newly 26. And had definitely went through that phase of forgetting how old I was and saying the wrong thing, etc. What's your dream hunting location? My dream hunting location is a place where I can hike as far as my heart desires and there is just wild game everywhere and there are grouse or ptarmigan or some kind of bird that I could hunt as well. Almost like elk hunting on steroids. I just want like endless land and endless game and beautiful weather and everything that, you know, is not real for the most part. What do you never want to run out of during hunting season? Beer? No, I never want to run out of tags. That would really truly suck if you filled all of your tags super early and then you had nothing to do for the rest of the season. You could always hunt with other people, but there is something about if you always have a tag in your pocket, you can bop out for a solo pursuit, you know, when you have a chance. So that's what I would never want to run out of, tags. How do you recommend showering when living in a van or camping for a while? Nick and I used this pressurized shower. I'll include a link in the description below. I also actually filmed a video on this, so that'll pop up somewhere as well. You can check that out. That talks about really how I shower while living on the road. How did you keep your game meat cold when you were road tripping? This was by far the worst part about living on the road, or one of the worst parts of living on the road, was the meat situation. We were living off the grid, so we didn't have electricity, or enough electricity to run a refrigerator. We did have a solar panel with a lithium battery that we would charge all of our electronics off of, and if we needed to plug the trailer in for a while, we could, but it wasn't enough to sustain a refrigerator 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we did not have access to meat. Excuse me, like ever, unless we were with friends that had meat that then gave us meat for a day or two, or we ate meat at a friend's house or whatever. So it was very rough. And when we killed a game animal, we would freeze it up in a friend's freezer and then pay way too much money to ship it to Pennsylvania because that's where we'll be for a while. But we're nomadic and we move around a lot. So the meat situation is definitely difficult while living on the road. And it's definitely based on your particular situation. How tall are you? I am 5'8". Did you work for First Light? Yes, I did. I started as an intern for First Light in 2015 and I worked there for almost 3 years, I think, or at least 2.5. And I have been on my own for about a year now. So I love those people and I loved working there. Have you ever been told you can't stop and camp in a forest area? No, but there are definitely areas, even within a national forest, that you are not allowed to camp overnight. There are definitely restrictions for day use areas only, and then other areas that are overnights. They all have different camp stay limits, so you really have to know the area that you're going to, because you cannot just camp wherever you want, unfortunately. But you know, it needs to be regulated, so makes sense. What backpack do you use? Is it a specific women's pack? None of my packs fit my girlfriend. So I use a Kafaru 22 mag for the most part. There are a couple other packs that I switch around to, but I find that that one's my favorite, and it has been for the past number of years. It is not a women's specific bag, but the frame size fits my frame. So again, I'm 5'8". If your gal is short, or if you are short in general, this is, you know, for everyone speaking, not just for the person asking this question, you really just need to find a pack that is the proper height. I think mine's like a 24, 25 inch frame. Don't quote me on that because it's a couple years old at this point, but yeah. What age did you start hunting? I'm 28. Do I still have a chance at it? Absolutely. If anything, when you're older, it becomes easier because you can do it for yourself. When you're young, the only way that you're going to get into hunting is if it's passed down by someone in your family or a very close family friend. But as an adult, really, you're able to make your own decisions. And if you want to hunt, go hunt. There's plenty of information online. And I know I say that as if it's really easy. It's not easy to start hunting. And I want to make more videos dedicated on how to start hunting, but you are not too late. What animal is the most fun to observe in the wild? I think bears are the most fun to observe in the wild because they are so human-like in a lot of ways. My mom, she said, are you excited about hiking on the AT soon? So AT is Appalachian Trail, or Appalachian if you are like below the Mason-Dixon line. And my mom, my sister, and I just recently hiked a 40-mile portion of the Appalachian Trail. So these questions were obviously before we went, but I was very excited to go and it was great. There's actually a video on that. Have you ever hunted in Kansas? Amazing whitetails here. I have heard there are amazing whitetail opportunities in Kansas. I've never hunted in Kansas, but it's definitely on my radar. What are some accomplishments that you are really proud of? I'm really proud of mine and Nick's relationship. I think that sounds super cheesy, but we've been together for 9 years, over 9 years. And we've grown a lot in that time, and I just think I'm most proud of him. Yeah, I'm not gonna get mushy. That's it. Have you ever been hog hunting? No, I have not, but also on my radar. Do you find that you get along with a lot of other people? Interesting question. Why did you ask that? Yeah, I do. I think that I get along with almost everyone. And even if there's someone who is rubbing me the wrong way, for the most part, I'm super polite and, you know, would never be rude for the most part. There probably have been occasions where I've been a little spicy, but yeah, I get along with other people for sure. Do you have any advice on how to catch my first trout? So far, I've been very unsuccessful. Oh, I love that! That's the real journey of it all, is where you're at right now, trying to figure it out. It's going to vary based upon region, weather, time of year, all of those things, whether you're using a fly rod or a spin rod. And I don't mean to overwhelm you. I would recommend watching YouTube videos. To me, that is the best way to learn. I could blurt out some stuff to you, but I think it would be much easier if you watched it. I hope that's good advice. use a trout magnet if you're using a spin rod, and if it's the summertime and you're fishing for trout, use this Allie stimulator. Ooh, tell us how your sister being a vegan feels about you being a hunter. Oh, I don't know why I made it sound like that's so dramatic. It's actually not dramatic. So she's a vegetarian. She's not a vegan. She does eat fish. It's one of those pescatarian, maybe I think it's called, whatever. I don't need to put a label on it. But yeah, she loves it and she supports it. Although she doesn't eat meat, I have a fall bear tag this year, and I told her that if I kill a bear, I want, excuse me, I want to give her some bear fat so that she can make pie crust. Excuse me. She can make pie crust with it, and she wasn't too fond of that idea, but I might convince her to make it for someone else, you know, whatever. What first sparked your passion for the outdoors? The very first thing that sparked my passion for the outdoors was horseback riding. I loved horses from the time I was 5 years old on. I took horseback riding lessons for like 10 years, and I showed horses and loved them. Like when we were younger, my mom would take us to a toy store, and I would always buy toy horses, just like, you know, little toy horses. I loved them, and I still do love them. And one day I will have horses of my own, because they are what started it all. Oh, are there any children in y'all's future? Why are you getting in my business like that? Yeah, probably. Although I'm not in a space where I want to think about that. So at some point, yes, but right now, not on my radar. How many continents have you been to? I have been to North America, South America, and Europe. How did you get your start in the hunting industry? Do you have any tips on how to get recognized and involved? So I first got into the hunting industry as an intern for a hunting apparel company called First Light. If you are looking to work within the industry in general, it's a fairly small industry all in all once you really get down to it. And for me, I started as an intern, but if you are someone who has already had 10 years of experience in accounting, for example, or whatever your area of expertise may be, it's likely that that would translate into the industry. If you're talking about how to become like a social media influencer, it's a little bit different of a conversation. Let me drink and then we'll dig in. When it comes to that, you have to work on building some kind of a presence. And now with social media, there are so many different ways that you can get involved. So here are a few. You can start an Instagram profile, a YouTube channel, and try to engage with people that way. You could start a podcast and talk about whatever topics within hunting that you're interested in. You could get into photography and become a photographer, although that's more of the industry side and less of the like influencer side of things, but it still could teeter either way. You could get into filmmaking and enter your films into different hunting film tours to try and get your name out there. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but whatever route you choose, you just have to be consistent. So if you're going to start a podcast, you have to podcast, you know, as frequently as possible, but you can set those parameters for yourself. For me, I started with Instagram. It's been like 3 years of consistency with my Instagram page. YouTube came after Instagram, and My consistency on YouTube has not been as great as my Instagram, but I'm working on it. And I could dive so deep into ways to grow in the outdoor industry. I actually made a video how to work in the outdoor industry, so hopefully that will help answer some of the questions. Do you and Nick intend on getting another golden retriever? It broke my heart when you lost your puppy. So I don't want to talk about this because it's gonna make me sad. But for those of you who don't know, Nick and I had a puppy that passed away. And I'm getting emotional, so I don't... Damn it. The camera died, so. How long do you and Nick plan on living on the road, and how do you pay bills? So we lived on the road for about 5 months and we worked the entire time. All of our work is online. We are digital nomads, if you will. So we went to coffee shops for internet. We have a little hotspot that we would use in certain areas where we had internet, and worked from the road. That's how we paid our bills. Is the road trip a challenge for your relationship? If yes, in which way? Whoa. For me, it wasn't the road trip. We're getting into some like therapy. I don't think that the road trip was much of a challenge for our relationship. I could spend and want to spend every single day with Nick. So the road trip didn't really change anything. But what has been challenging is working together every single day. And it's funny that I'm like talking about this. For any of you who have done business with a significant other, it definitely gets a little spicy sometimes. I am definitely a bit of a control freak for a lot of things, so that's the only thing that would cause any ruffles, is actually working together. But living on the road, no. Is Australia on your bucket list? I don't think so. I mean, I would love to go to Australia, but there are probably other places that I would want to go before then. But if you've been to Australia and I'm wrong, tell me why I'm wrong in the comments, because I still would love to go to Australia. Oh no, sneakers, socks or no socks? This is so gross. We spend every winter in Florida now, recently, the past couple of years. And when we're in Florida, I don't wear socks with my tennis shoes, and I think it's so gross, but I do it anyway. Ew. Have you had the chance to hunt Arizona? I haven't, but Coues deer in Arizona is on my radar, over the counter. I see you. What's your favorite animal to hunt for? I love September elk hunting, and I almost enjoy hunting grouse as like a off hunt. Excuse me, not an off hunt, as a tangent hunt of elk hunting. So kind of grouse, excuse me, kind of elk hunting. Why do you always touch your chin when you're talking or taking a pic? I think it's just habit. It's just like a habit. So I dig the Matthews you got, but thoughts on Hoyt? I'm thinking of making the switch. I used to shoot a Hoyt. I actually shot 2 different Hoyts, and I've had one Matthews, which is my Matthews Avail, and I love them all. There are a ton of really good bow manufacturers out there, and it's not just Hoyt or Matthews. There are a bunch of other ones too, and I love them all. So honestly, like, go to an archery shop and shoot a lot of different bows and see what feels best for you. There are pros and cons to having a long axle to axle and a shorter axle to axle, and like more let off, less let off, etc. So you really don't know how it's gonna feel for you until you actually have the bow in your hand. So that's what I would recommend. Ooh, favorite beer. I love a pale ale. Does Nick ever rock a man bun? Nick is gonna kill me for saying this, but don't tell him. He occasionally rocks a man bun around the house, but he's never worn it in public. Have you ever had or hunted javelina? No. I've heard bad things about the way that javelina tastes, but I've also heard bad things about the way that antelope taste, and antelope have been one of the tastiest animals I've had. So I am definitely open to hunting javelina because I would cool that meat down and treat it good. What was your first bow? My first bow was a Hoyt Ignite. It's actually a junior bow and it's super adjustable. The weight range is like 15 to, or the draw weight, excuse me. It's like 15 pounds to 70 pounds. And your draw length is super adjustable too. The idea is that it's a junior's bow that you can use as a young kid, and then you can grow into it as a young adult or into adulthood, and it was the perfect bow for me to learn on. What's your favorite social media platform? It's YouTube, and even though I'm reading these questions from Instagram, I love YouTube. I feel like there's a way to connect on YouTube that you can't on Instagram, and I do still love Instagram. And for me, it's easier to keep up on Instagram. Sometimes I go a little longer than I would like without posting and sharing on YouTube, just because there's a lot more that goes into making a video. But you guys here on YouTube, you're my favorite. Why are the Steelers so bad this year? I like pretend that I'm a football fan. I'm from Pittsburgh, so I root for the Steelers naturally, but I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but I'm up for a good time, and football games are always a good time. So I'll pretend like I'm mad. You asking why the Steelers are bad, but I don't really care. What's the best state you've fly fished for trout? I think Colorado wins. What's your favorite hunting memory when you were the hunter? Oh, he knows. So my favorite hunting memory is the very first hunt that I was on where an animal had passed. I was with Nick and he shot a doe whitetail. Who are you? Randy. Randy knows. So my favorite memory when I was the hunter was probably my first mule deer, and it's because I was by myself when it happened. Like, there were other people maybe like 200 yards away, whatever, but I was alone in that moment, and I think that I learned a lot in that moment, and yeah, it was cool. Ooh, is laundry in an RV a big issue? It's not. Laundromats are so easy, and some laundromats are right next door to a bar, so you can drop off your laundry, go grab a beer, some food, and it's really easy. So no, laundry was not difficult at all. Ooh, what happened with your elk hunt? So whenever I asked for these questions, it was the very end of the elk season. And I don't think I really talked about my elk season much, mostly because I was so physically and mentally exhausted by that point. We had been in the trailer. That was like our 4th month in the trailer. And the temperatures got extremely cold at night. We're talking below freezing in the 20s. And we were living off the grid. We weren't running heat, which I know, come at me. I know we should have ran the heat, but we weren't running the heat. And we were just sleeping in our 0-degree bags. But it wasn't even the sleep that was as much of the problem. It was like waking up and it being freezing cold and having to go into town to get internet to work for the day, and then trying to go elk hunting in the evening was just exhausting. And like, we work every day. There isn't really a weekend. Like, this just never stops for me, for us. So that's something that I need to work on in the future, is just better balancing everything. But honestly, we were just so exhausted that it got to the point that it was like I could either go elk hunting or get my work done. And of course, I would love to pick elk hunting, but that's not what kind of a person I am. Like, I need to work and I need to get it done. And if I don't, then I'm not going to feel good. So, sorry, not outdoorsy related, but how did you and Nick meet? We were in high school and I was kind of dating this other guy, and he ditched me to go to a college party on a Friday night when we had plans. I was all upset. My girlfriends were like, just come to the basketball game with us. There was a high school basketball game. I was a junior in high school, and I didn't want to go, but I did. And after the game, we were getting into my girlfriend's car, and this boy that we were friends with ran over and jumped in the car. And he was friends with Nick, whom I had never met before. And so they jumped in the car and we all talked for a little while. And my friend tried to start the car. It was February and freezing outside, and the car battery was dead. So my Nick was like, oh, you guys can come sit in my car while you wait for your dad to come jump it, because I guess he didn't have jumper cables. So we all get in his car and we ended up exchanging numbers, and then we hung out the next day, and we literally have been together ever since. Magical. Do you ever get after coyotes? No, I don't. But I understand why people do. And I'm unsure of whether or not I want to hunt for coyotes. I feel like if I had a property or a very specific deer herd that was jeopardized because of them, that I would feel some need to do some predator control. But at this point, I'm a little too nomadic to really feel super connected to any one spot. And I enjoy when I see coyotes. I like them. I think they're clever and they're smart, but that's besides the point, because I love when I see a deer too, obviously. Anyways, I don't get after them. I get why people do, and I'm open to it, just, not right now for me. Ooh, that's my baby. If you had 1 week, would you rather fly fish in Montana or bow hunt deer in Iowa? I would rather fly fish in Montana. Best advice on finding a career in the outdoor industry or conservation programs. I'll speak specifically to conservation programs since I already touched a little bit on the outdoor industry. There are a lot of great groups out there looking for volunteers for different projects, who are looking for interns for different projects. So my best recommendation would be to start as a volunteer, get to know people, and then go from there. It's really about building relationships with the people in your community who are working on projects that you're passionate about, and then hopefully doors will open up along the way. Someone said, you gonna have a beer this time? Oh yeah, I need another one actually. Beer too. Most interesting thing you've learned from hunting so far? Mine is processing meat. Whoa, that's a good one. I feel like I fell in love with backpacking through hunting. So for me, that's it. It's like I learned my desire to explore and to be adventurous and to be outside in the wilderness through hunting. So yeah, that's it for me. Favorite types of book to read while hunting, camping, traveling, or otherwise? I have read a couple good books over the past couple of years. I don't read as frequently as I wish that I did. I'm totally blaming this on Nick, but when I'm with Nick, I just want to be with Nick and I want to hang out with him. And if I'm reading, I'm not engaging with him and like hanging out with him. You know what I mean? That might be silly, but he doesn't really read. So I find that I have to like be alone, or I don't know. I just enjoy his company, so I end up not reading as much as I would if I were alone, which is fine. I'd rather be with him anyway. But I enjoyed a Sand County Almanac by Aldo Leopold, The Big Burn by Timothy Egan, River of Doubt by, I think that's by Candace Millard, maybe her name is. I enjoyed Into the Wild. That's by John Krakauer. Those are just some good ones. How tall is Nick? Nick is 6'1". Okay, last question. As a fellow hunter, how do you deal with some of the hate messages and threats we get? I don't get that many hate messages or threats. I posted a trail cam video, and that is by far the most hated video that I've ever posted, and it's from hunters who are angry that it was a vlog style video and not just trail cam videos. Understandable. But in general, I don't see all that much hate. And if it is there, I just look the other way. And if someone wants to have a conversation in person, I'm absolutely open to having a conversation and hearing what they have to say and what they think and how they feel. But yeah, I don't know. Just can't focus energy on the negative. You have to focus it on the positive. So let's end it here. Now that I have a full beer. Not a bad problem to have though. All right, well that is it. Thank you all for your questions. Thank you for watching if you are here until the end. I'll see you. I don't know why. I hope you enjoyed it. I always enjoy stuff like this, and I love YouTube. So that is it. Thank you all so much. See you in the next one.